how you doing? I very rarely start a conversation that way, but how are you doing, Philip?
Good, good. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, as you can imagine, the last 3 weeks or so. Most of it all positive. Again, I've said it numerous times, but just thankful. Had a blast. Obviously, wish the outcomes were a little different. We could have found a way to win a couple games and have this Houston game mean win or get in. Win and get in, but it's been a blast just to be back in the mix, and then now as it's winding down, you're getting ready to head back home here in a few days, but nothing but gratitude, really. It's been a blast.
Now, I have so many questions for you, Philip. Were you watching the Colts live when Daniel Jones went down?
Yeah, I was.
You were at home?
Yeah,
watching it live?
Oh yeah, we still watch. I mean, we go to mass at either a 9 or 11, and those games kick off Central Time, as you know, at noon. And
right.
And we watch ball pretty much most of the afternoon. My 2-year-old takes a long nap on me, and we try to keep him asleep as long as possible. And we flip channels and watch games, and we watch the bulk of Colts and Chargers games. Usually when those games are on, those are the main game on. But we flip all around, and by 3 o'clock Central, we find the games that are coming down to the wire, and about 6 o'clock, you find those other games that are coming down to the wire, and then we usually eat dinner together and then watch the Sunday night game. So, I was watching it live. Just unfortunate, gotten to be around Daniel now these last 3 weeks, and what a great year he was having. And then to battle the broken leg and then the Achilles is brutal for him. But he seems to have a great spirit about the whole deal, and look forward to seeing him back out there next fall.
Well, how soon did your phone ring after the end of that game, Philip?
Yeah, it was later. I don't remember exactly, but it was later. It was later on.
Same day? Was it same day?
Yeah, it was same day.
Wow.
Man,
then
Monday.
When you're hearing the words, when you're hearing that words though in your ear on the phone, where they start, heat checking you, what was going through your mind when you heard that?
Yeah, I think first it was just, I guess my first thought was like, dang, let's go, a little bit.
Right.
And then you start going all over the place, right? Your mind kind of goes all over the place. And it was a wild, 36 hours, I guess, just of going back and forth, yeah, let's go for it. And then it was like, what, have I lost my mind? I could go on, but, it was wild. Then getting back here, getting here Monday afternoon, Monday evening, throwing in the indoor.
Right.
Felt pretty good, and it's kind of like, man, I remember this place. Obviously it was the last place I was in 2020 and that 2020 season. So then it kind of felt kind of good, and then having some familiar faces, obviously with Shane, but also there's 14 teammates that were here in 2020, and so that kind of added to the familiarity. And then the training room staff's the same, the equipment guys, the PR guys, there was a lot of familiarity, and then it felt pretty normal there once we got going in that game week.
Well, not to get too deep here, Philip, but in the time that I've been, around guys of your stature, gamers of your stature after they've retired, I'll ask them that they sometimes dream of being back in a game, go to sleep. You're in your REM state and you're back under center and you're in a huddle. And I'm wondering, do you have those dreams? And was the game in Seattle sort of just like that for you?
It really was. I've had a blast. I was at peace with when I finished and coaching there at St. Michael and getting to coach my son at quarterback. And it's been awesome. And so I was. It wasn't like that. It did feel like a dream, because this wasn't something I was hanging on to or hoping happened one day. I mean, it was over,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, it was like, here you go. You got one more shot if you want it, and so yeah, I did. And standing in Seattle, it was 1,800 days or so since my last game I played in Buffalo, but it was really about 2,100 days since I was in a full house, because that was that COVID season. So
Right.
My last game in San Diego, last game with the LA Chargers at Kansas City in Arrowhead, and 2019 was the last time I was in a packed house. So I was standing out there in Seattle, and obviously we know what that atmosphere is like. And I was like, man, what is going on? This is crazy. I get to do this again. And I remember that first hit I took, it may have been the second drive, I think. and I missed Tyler Warren, I think, on something. But that first hit I took, it was one of those. It was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be fine. It officially locked me into the game, and I felt like I was right back where I'd been for 17 years. And I remember finding my brother and son, and they were sitting about 10 rows up, and they looked at me kind of like, well, and I was like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be just fine. So it certainly got me locked in that one, and really the next 2 weeks felt normal. They really did. They felt good. And like I said, I hate it. We couldn't find a way to climb back in this thing, but the experience has been awesome.
Yeah, and I know that obviously is the point. You want to win. You want to win. You want to take the team to the playoffs. That you were called up to hopefully do that on behalf of the organization and the coach. But the endeavor in itself, Philip, I just got to tell you, watching you was just awesome. I'm 56, and I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing what you're doing, and you inspired me. I was talking to Kurt Warner just the other day, and I'm like, when you're watching Philip on film, was there a moment where you're like, I think I can make that throw too? You know what I mean? And he said he did feel that way. And I'm wondering, who have you heard from to say similar things than what I've just told you, Philip?
Too many to even name. I mean, just Kurt being one of them, but just so many people that I either played with, talked to at some point. I mean, just too many. I mean, the emotions I felt really after that first week from the numerous people. I was reading them off, to my wife, and she was like, "Gosh, that sounds like everybody you've ever known,"
Right.
And just I wish I had a better word. I can't come up with one. It's just thankful. I really am. It's been to get to just go back out there and play and be a kid again one more time at the highest level, be a teammate, be a teammate again. Because I think you've heard a lot. I bet you've heard so many former players. That's what we always talk about, is just what they miss the most is being a teammate. Getting in the hot tub in the morning, sitting in the sauna, the bus ride, all those in the huddle, in the meeting room. I mean, just on, and that had all passed. I was thankful for those 17 years, and that had all passed. And all of a sudden, you get 3 bonus weeks just right in your lap, and fell right in your lap, and you just overwhelmed with gratitude. And what you going back to what you said, Kurt said, I mean, I bet he could make all those throws. I mean, that's what's crazy. It's like, and my arm is not, I was never a big arm guy, and
Right.
it's not, but it's not what it was 6 years ago. I mean, there's some limitations there that I go, field deep comeback, I'm good. I don't think we'll try to make that one. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's not just going to go away, and then obviously, especially in my position, I never ran away from anybody anyway. So it was going to be from the neck up and being accurate and on time and all those things. And I missed some throws that I probably would have made had I been in a normal groove. But I made some too that felt the same as they felt, 10 years ago. So,
I mean, Philip, this game seems to adapt and change game to game, year to year. Any difference that you've sensed in the 5 years?
Not a ton. I do think that defenses are continuing to get better and better at disguising, and at least just if they can, the decisions are made in 2 seconds. These things are happening fast. So if they can delay or cause you to have a little, confusion or whatever, just a little bit, just a little bit more than normal, then it can affect you. So I feel like the defenses have gotten better. I just remember way back, defense is trying to disguise things, and it's one guy, well, he's a good disguiser. And it's like, yeah, but all these other guys on the defense aren't even showing what he's showing. So just don't even, you can ignore him. I know what y'all are in, and now these teams seem a little bit more connected, the back end to the linebackers, and they're a little more connected and wired. And so that seems to be, where it has become more challenging. But no, there were so many things that was just felt like, man, has it been 5 years? Like, it doesn't feel like it didn't feel like that once in some of these games, And again, shoot, I still threw it to the other team in each game and made plenty of mistakes. But for the most part, I was like, dang, all right. Yeah, it's not, because I was nervous about the whole thing. Like, man, it's been a long time since people have been moving real fast around me. Am I going to be able to function? And as soon as I got through that first week of practice, that Friday practice before Seattle, a ball didn't hit the ground. And I don't say that like, whoop-de-doo, I know, but that's what it used to be. I was like, all right, shoot, heck yeah, that felt like a Friday practice was supposed to feel. So there's a lot of, I know when the dust will settle, I'll have even more emotions and more memories from these 3 weeks. It's all happened so fast.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.